The snow had already begun to fall when Alara crouched behind the abandoned bakery, pressing her thin coat tighter around her trembling body. At 19 she had already learned the cruel rules of survival. Keep quiet, stay invisible, and never expect kindness. She had once had a home. Once had parents. Once believed the world was fair. That belief died the night sickness took her mother, and the village council threw Alara onto the streets with nothing but a sack of clothes and a warning not to return. Since then she slept wherever the wind allowed. That evening, hunger gnawed at her stomach as laughter echoed from the tavern nearby. Warm light spilled from its windows. Food, safety, life, everything denied to her. A drunken man noticed her watching. "Get lost, gutter rat," he sneered, tossing a crust of bread into the snow like she was an animal. She didn't cry. Crying wasted energy. As Alara turned away she heard it. A faint, broken meow. The sound came from the alley beside the ruined chapel, an area everyone avoided. People said dark things lingered there. Vampires. Curses. The meow came again, weaker this time. Alara hesitated. Helping meant danger. Danger meant death. Still, she moved. Beneath a collapsed beam she found a black cat, its fur soaked in blood, one leg badly injured. Its golden eyes stared at her, not with fear but awareness. Someone had stabbed it. Her heart clenched. "I know how that feels," she whispered. Using strips torn from her dress, she bound the wounds carefully. The cat never scratched her. Never hissed. She carried it back to her hidden shelter beneath an abandoned shed, sharing the last warmth she had. That night, as Alara slept beside the wounded cat, shadows stretched unnaturally long. Far away in a mountain fortress of black stone, a powerful presence stirred. The vampire king opened his eyes. And smiled. The cat healed far too quickly. By the third day, its wounds had nearly vanished. Alara noticed but said nothing. When you live with nothing you don't question miracles. She named him Noctis. Each night she shared her food with him. Each night he pushed some back toward her with his paw. When bullies kicked snow at her shelter, Noctis growled, low and dangerous. One night Alara returned bruised, her lips split. "They said I'm cursed," she murmured, shaking. "That I shouldn't exist." Noctis pressed against her chest, purring like thunder. That night, Alara dreamed of a throne carved from obsidian, and eyes watching her with ancient curiosity. She woke to footsteps above her shelter. Men's voices. "They say she hides a demon cat," one snarled. "The vampire hunters pay well," another laughed. Fear froze her blood. A voice spoke from the darkness behind her, calm, deep, terrifying. "Indeed they do." The air turned cold. The men screamed. When the torches went out, Alara screamed, then silence fell. Light returned slowly. Before her stood a man taller than any she'd seen, dressed in black like living night. His silver-white hair framed a face both beautiful and dangerous. His eyes glowed crimson. The hunters lay broken on the ground. No blood touched him. "Alara," he said gently, "do not fear." Her knees gave out. "You saved my familiar," he continued, gesturing as Noctis transformed, shadow stretching, form shifting, into a spectral beast, then back to a cat. "I am King Alaric, ruler of the Night Court." She expected death. Instead he knelt. "In a world that hunts monsters," he said softly, "you showed mercy." When the village lord arrived demanding her arrest, King Alaric stood between them. "She is under my protection." The lord laughed, until shadows swallowed him whole. Instant justice. Alara was carried away beneath a sky blazing with stars. Part 4, The Castle of Night, Slow Burn Romance. Blackstone Castle was terrifying, and strangely gentle. Alara was given clean clothes, warm food, and her own room. No one touched her without permission. No one raised their voice. King Alaric kept his distance. Yet he watched. He noticed how she bowed to servants, how she flinched at loud sounds, how she thanked everyone, even shadows. "She does not fear power," one elder whispered. "She fears cruelty." Slowly Alara learned the truth. Her bloodline carried ancient lunar magic, hunted for centuries. She was never weak, only untrained. Alaric taught her control, protection, confidence. Their hands brushed, never lingered. Their gazes met, never claimed. Respect before desire. When enemies attacked the castle, Alara stood beside him, shielding innocence with light born from compassion. The court bowed. Not to a beggar, but to a queen in the making. The hunters fell. The corrupt lord was exposed. The world shifted. Alara stood before the court. "I don't want revenge," she said. I want no one else thrown into the cold. A new law was written that night. No child abandoned. No poor hunted. No kindness punished. King Alaric approached her, not as ruler but as man. You changed my kingdom, he said quietly. You changed me. She smiled. I just saved a cat. He knelt again, this time not from debt but love. And the girl the world tried to erase became the reason darkness learned mercy. Peace never arrives quietly. It announces itself through resistance. Weeks after Alara's rise within Blackstone Castle, whispers began to crawl through the outer kingdoms. Priests spoke of imbalance. Nobles muttered about a human standing beside a vampire king. Old fears resurfaced, fear of change, fear of kindness becoming power. And fear always gathers weapons. The Crimson Tribunal, an ancient alliance of human lords, inquisitors and false holy men, marched toward Blackstone under banners of righteousness. They did not come to negotiate. They came to erase Alara. At dawn, horns echoed across the valley. Thousands stood at the castle gates, chanting her name like a curse. Bring out the girl. She bewitched the king. Burn the witch of night. From the highest balcony, Alara watched, hands trembling, heart steady. I won't hide, she said. King Alaric turned sharply. You owe them nothing. I owe myself the truth, she replied softly. Running made me small once. I won't let fear decide who I am again. For the first time in centuries, the vampire king felt something he could not command. Fear, not for himself. For her. The gates opened. Alara stepped forward alone. No crown. No armor. Only the same worn strength that once carried a wounded cat through snow. The crowd fell silent. You call me monster, she said, voice carrying unnaturally far. But I fed your hungry children when you turned them away. I healed your wounded soldiers when your priest refused. I asked for nothing. A man shouted, she lies. Alara raised her hands, and the ground responded. Not with fire. With light. Memories poured into the air, visions the tribunal could not deny. Children saved. Villages protected. Cruelty punished. Mercy rewarded. Truth made visible. The loudest accuser fell to his knees, weeping. This power, he stammered. It's not dark. No, Alara said gently. It's human. The tribunal retreated, not defeated by violence but by exposure. When the gates closed again, Alara collapsed. Alaric caught her. This time he did not let go. You could have ruled through fear, he whispered against her hair. You chose compassion. She looked up at him, exhausted but unbroken. I learned from you, she said. He laughed softly, something ancient finally released. That night, under moon and star, the night court gathered. Alaric placed a single black-silver ring into Alara's palm. Not as my subject, he said. Not as my salvation. But as my equal, if you choose. Alara slid the ring on herself. I choose, she said, steady and sure. The world we protect together. Far below, Noctis watched from the shadows, tail flicking with satisfaction. The girl who once slept beneath broken roofs now stood between darkness and dawn. And the world would never again mistake kindness for weakness. Blackstone Castle was not the sanctuary Alara imagined. Yes, its walls were warm, its halls lit by golden firelight instead of fear. Servants bowed to her, guards treated her with respect, and no one raised a hand or voice against her. Yet beneath the calm surface, something heavy stirred, something ancient and dangerous. Alara felt it in the silence. She stood at the tall arched window of her chamber, watching clouds drift past the moon. The world below the cliffs looked impossibly far away, like a life she had lived in another existence. The girl who slept under bridges, who begged silently for mercy from strangers, felt like a ghost she carried inside her chest. A soft knock came at the door. Come in, she said. King Malachar entered, dressed not as a ruler but in simple black attire, his long pale hair tied back. His presence still made the air feel denser, heavier, yet Alara no longer flinched. You should be resting, he said. I am, she replied quietly. Just thinking. He nodded. That can be more exhausting than any labor. He moved closer, stopping several steps away, always careful not to crowd her. Alara noticed this, how he measured his distance, how he never touched her unless she moved first. There is something you're not telling me, she said suddenly. Malachar's eyes flickered. You are perceptive. I've always had to be, Alara said. When you're powerless, you learn to read danger before it speaks. A pause stretched between them. The Crimson Covenant has noticed you, Malachar finally said. They are ancient, older than many of my kind. They believe balance should be controlled, not protected. Alara swallowed. Because of my blood. Yes. Silence fell again, heavier now. They will come, he continued. Not with armies. With whispers. With lies. They will try to turn you against me. Alara turned to face him fully. Would you hurt me to stop them? The question struck deeper than any blade. No, Malachar answered immediately. Never. And if protecting me puts your kingdom at risk? His jaw tightened. Then I will bear that cost. Alara searched his face, trying to find deception. She found none. Only restraint. And something else, fear. Not for himself. For her. That night, Alara dreamed. She stood in a vast hall of mirrors, each reflection showing a different version of herself. One crowned, one burning, one kneeling in blood. A voice echoed through the chamber, neither male nor female. Power given without choice becomes a chain. She woke gasping, heart racing. The cat, Nyx, sat at the foot of her bed, eyes glowing softly. You're worried too, she whispered. Nyx blinked once. The next morning the castle changed. Whispers followed her through corridors. Servants avoided her gaze. Guards doubled their watch. Even the air felt charged, like a storm waiting to break. At midday the warning came. A messenger arrived, ashen-faced, trembling. The Covenant has crossed the border, he said. They demand the girl. The council erupted into chaos. They'll destroy us if we refuse, one elder argued. She's human, another said. Is one life worth a war? The word struck Alara like ice. Malachar rose slowly from his throne. She is under my protection, he said, voice calm but lethal. And this council will remember that. The elders fell silent, but doubt remained. That evening, Alara made her decision. She sought Malachar in the throne chamber, where shadows stretched long across the floor. I won't be the reason your people suffer, she said quietly. You are not a reason, he replied. You are a responsibility I chose. She stepped closer. Then teach me. Teach me how to stand beside you, not behind you. Malachar studied her for a long moment. Then he nodded. Very well, he said. But understand this, power does not make you strong. Choice does. He extended his hand. Alara hesitated only a second before taking it. The air shifted. Not violently. Not painfully. Something ancient awakened, soft, radiant, restrained. Far away the Crimson Covenant felt it. And smiled. Because the girl who had once been invisible had just taken her first step onto a battlefield where kings, monsters, and fate itself would soon collide. And this time, she would not be helpless,